Hello everyone, welcome to Brave Heart. This is Sean Lin. You probably heard about counterfeit ballots, but can you imagine the counterfeit ballots are still being shipped into the United States, crossing the Mexican-United States border? Who did that? And in this program, we bring you a special interview, an exclusive interview with both attorney Sidney Powell and Lin Wood. You probably heard about their powerful speech yesterday in Georgia, and they are still on the road. They are so busy and really grateful that they conducted the interview with me this afternoon. And Sidney Powell broke out this news about the counterfeit ballots are still shipped into the United States. And Attorney Lin also emphasizing that the two attorneys in Georgia need to listen to people's demand to have a special section in Georgia, and also using the traditional way, paper ballot, for the runoff or have the revote. So let's roll the tape. All these interview was done on my iPhone because they are on the road, so I cannot do the video interview. So bear with the audio quality. Let's roll the tape.
Sydney.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Hey.
Mr. Sidney Powell. This is Sean. And you are with Mr. Lin Wood?
Yeah, I'm here with Lin Wood. Are you okay with doing it on cell phone?
Okay.
Hey, it's Lin Wood. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing in terms of telling people the truth. That's all I care about. But what can we do for you in terms of questions?
Yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity. We are really interested in understanding about the Georgia situation. So can you tell us a little bit, like Georgia Senate, will they be able to really have a special section?
Under the present rules of Georgia, it looks like the governor has to order the legislature into special session. There are provisions, I think, where 2/3 of both chambers could do so, but the political party split is such that I don't think the legislators can do it themselves. It's going to be up to the governor.
Right now, you're facing resistance from the governor, right?
Well, the governor's not doing anything to help the people in terms of trying to investigate the fraud of the election. And he's shown an unwillingness to even speak out on whether he would or would not conduct order a special session. He and the lieutenant governor have suggested there was no fraud, no evidence of fraud. And that's just a lie. There's mountains of evidence of fraud. So I'm concerned that the governor of Georgia has got other reasons why he's not pursuing this election fraud. And we're trying to bring as much public pressure to bear on him as possible because the people want it. The people want it fixed.
So under these kind of circumstances, and how can Georgia people help putting more pressures on the Georgia government?
Well, I know there's a rally at the governor's mansion at 11 o'clock on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the president's going to go to a Loeffler and Purdue rally on Saturday. And I would suspect, without knowing, that there are going to be a lot of Trump voters there that are going to be very unhappy with Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue until, or unless, they ask for some action to be taken by the governor. And the evidence that came out today at the Georgia hearing was overwhelming. It was proof positive on video of fraud. So I'm hoping that maybe someone will talk to the governor and he'll be able to at least acknowledge that he's now seen evidence of massive fraud and he's going to do something about it.
So far, is there anyone actually present this kind of video evidence to the governor so he cannot just turn a blind eye on it?
There's been enough evidence presented at the hearings and in the lawsuits filed that he should never have had a blind eye to begin with, but now it's right there on the video camera eye, and the video lens eye doesn't lie. So he's going to have to acknowledge there was significant fraud in Fulton County, probably enough to alone tip the scales in favor of the president in that one county.
So do you think actually President's rally on Saturday and also Vice President Mike Pence going to Savannah tomorrow, right? Do you think both of their rally will actually help boost people's morales to demand Georgia governors to take actions to call for the special session?
I think the people's morale, and what legislators is I think the people are angry.
Mm.
They're very angry, and they want the governor and the appropriate government officials in Georgia to do something about a fraudulent election. So it's not a problem that Sidney Powell and I created. Right now, if they go forward with this runoff election, they're simply going to redo the same fraud. In fact, they've even expanded it because the Georgia Election Board, in a meeting where they did not give the public proper notice, expanded the right of the state to open. The local election officials were now allowed to open these absentee ballots 3 weeks in advance of the runoff date. And in the general primary, they let them open them 2 weeks before the runoff date. State law says you cannot open a ballot until election day. So it's getting worse instead of better.
Wow.
There's already been, after seeing reports, that there's now almost 1 million requests for absentee ballots. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
They're running the same fraud. Nobody, do they think the Georgia voters are going to go vote in those Dominion machines? I don't think so. I didn't create the machine. The government of Georgia did. They need to fix it. If they're going to do anything, they ought to do 2 things. One, they need to do a forensic and audit of the votes. And then they're going to find that the election results were skewed. Trump won. Any other down ballot people may have been deprived of their victories. So Georgia needs to have electors chosen for President Trump. And then they need to have a down ballot race again in January to give everyone a chance to run in a fair election. You could do it by hand. You could vote by hand, sign your vote, let them count it by hand. It's not that difficult. It'd be a lot cheaper and quicker than what they're doing right now, but they still don't know exactly where the votes are. So it's fraud on such a basis that you almost feel like the fraudsters intended and wanted to be caught.
So, did you experience any intentional distortion of your message on other medias?
Yes, it's been grossly mischaracterized. It's been mischaracterized to represent that Sidney and I asked that the vote of Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue be boycotted. That's not what we said.
I see.
What we said was that Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue should be working for the people who in large amounts, significant numbers, want the election fraud investigation fixed, and they haven't done it yet. And I'm the one that said if they don't do it and earn your vote, they haven't earned your vote. So I'm hoping the public will put pressure on Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue to do their job and have the election fraud in Georgia investigated, and some effort been made to fix it before there's another election in Georgia.
So regarding about this forensic audit or
unhook our votes from machines. We go all over the world. Put some paper ballot, let them fill it out, sign it. Won't take that long. Then have people hand count them. We get a fair election.
Yeah. So for example, if for example Florida governor support these kind of forensic testing, so they examine one Dominion voting machine systems. And they found out that there's for example, a chip issue or software issues in that Dominion system. Can you use that as evidence and then urge Georgia governor not to use Dominion systems? Can you use it as a indirect support for this?
I'll let Sidney Powell address that for you.
Okay.
The problem isn't just with the Dominion machines, although the testimony in Georgia today from Russ Ramsland was that the Dominion machines produced about 5% more for Biden than any of the other systems. The fraud is pretty much system-wide because the DNA of the algorithm and the ability of the software to manipulate votes exists on all the systems.
So that's why my question is that if you got solid evidence from other states, and can it be used as evidence or additional support to demand Georgia governor to take actions not to use in the Dominion system for the January runoff?
Yes, we're collecting evidence from other systems as well. We filed suit now in Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. So we're kind of jumping through ourselves with our little team here with temporary restraining orders and hearings and briefing deadlines. We've got one appeal in the 11th Circuit right now in Georgia with a brief due tonight and then briefs due tomorrow night and Saturday night and Sunday night. So our weekend's kind of planned.
What's your hope on 11th Circuit and the Supreme Court right now? Do you think there will be a breakthrough on there?
I think so. Mr. Wood's case that he filed before we got our big fraud case filed is actually fully briefed now in front of the 11th Circuit on an emergency appeal. And I think they might decide it tonight or tomorrow even.
Wow, that'll be very quick.
Right, it would be. And they're going to have to find, if they get it right, they're going to have to find that the Georgia mail-out ballots that they sent out like 1.6 million of or something are not valid. Because the standards for filling out those ballots and voting by them is not the same standard required for people voting really absentee or by in person. And you can't have multiple different standards for people to vote. It's an equal protection of the law violation under Bush versus Gore.
I also had the chance to talk to Lieutenant General McGinery, and he kept emphasizing this is a treason, not just a regular election fraud. Can both of you comment on this issue as well?
Well, given the executive order that was in place for a state of emergency, that might apply. I'm not sure. Generally, treason requires an act of war, but if this was a cyber attack, like I think it very well was, that's entirely possible.
So it have to be defined as a cyber attack, right? From foreign interference, right?
Yeah, I think a cyber attack of this mass and importance could be considered an act of war.
I see. Today and yesterday had more news coming out regarding about Dominion system, probably owned by the Chinese government, right? Through different investment funds. Can you also comment on that?
Yeah, $400 million from Chinese Communist Party went into the fund that owns the parent company of Dominion, if I remember correctly. And there was board overlap also. There were some board members that were on Smartmatic or Dominion. There's lots of incest there.
At the same time, I also read on some of the Chinese website, actually, there are factories inside EU in China. They were printing counterfeit ballots for the United States. Do you have similar evidence related to that?
We do. We've heard a video of somebody ordering ballots from China. We have evidence of a significant plane load of ballots coming in, and we have a witness that has said they continue to come in because they intend to run counterfeit ballots in any runoffs or if they need them in recounts too. So it hasn't stopped.
Wow. So you mean it's still ongoing? And
yeah.
Wow.
And we have videos of the ballots coming across from the border from Mexico.
Well, did they come in like together with operation from drug cartels, or it's just pure Chinese operation? I
don't know. That I can't answer.
So in order to stop this continual influx of counterfeit ballots, so you think U.S. government or even special operation need to take actions?
I think the governors definitely should take action. I think the federal government needs to take action too. Something has to be done to secure our voting system and make it reliable so that everyone's legal vote counts with no threat of it being discounted or manipulated in any way. There's just nothing right about having a Chinese Communist government control our voting system and it being hackable from Iran, Serbia, Liechtenstein, Hong Kong, and multiple other places around the world where people saw it going, happening real time. It was so permeable.
Yeah, such a large scale, and I also watch on what Mr. Trevor Loudon been saying that the Chinese Progressive Association being mobilizing grassroots efforts to kind of manipulate the election, right?
Exactly.
So my overall question was that did you experience any intentional distortion of your message on other medias?
Yes, it's been grossly mischaracterized. It's been mischaracterized to represent that Sydney and I asked that the vote of Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue could boycott. That's not what we said.
I see.
What we said was that Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue should be working for the people who in large amounts, significant numbers, want the election fraud investigation fixed, and they haven't done it yet. And I'm the one that said if they don't do it and earn your vote, they haven't earned your vote. So I'm hoping the public will put pressure on Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue to do their job and have the election fraud in Georgia investigated, and some effort been made to fix it before there's another election in Georgia.
All right, everyone. I hope you enjoy this exclusive interview with both attorneys, Sidney Powell and Lin Wood. From their message, you can see that the United States election was or still being interfered by foreign forces, especially the Chinese Communist Party. And this is seriously alarming to all of us who love our countries, the United States. So this is today's program, and I hope everyone can still tune in tomorrow. My tomorrow program will talk about China's human rights issues, and I will also talk about the meeting with Secretary Mike Pompeo, Assistant Secretary Robert Destro, and also Deputy Secretary of the Homeland Security, Ken Cuccinelli. So both of them pay serious attention to the human rights abuses conducted by Chinese Communist Party. I hope you tune in tomorrow. And this is Sean Ning. Thank you for watching Brave Hearts.